Welcome to I think we're on session number 3 for premium. We're just purely going to be doing some scalping today, because we are doing this over a bit of a condensed session. This is I don't typically scalp. I'm going to be scalping on the 1 minute chart. It's not something that I typically do, but what I'm going to do is try and utilize and implement my techniques of what I use when scalping on the 15 or the 1 hour chart, and try and condense that and apply that to the 1 minute chart. Because if I'm scalping on the 1 hour chart or the 15-minute chart, I might find an entry point that I want to get into, and it may take the price 2, 3, 4 hours to get to that level for me to get my entry. And we're not going to be staying on live for 3 or 4 hours, so that's why I'm just going to try and condense it into the 1 minute chart. So
Sounds good, yeah.
I think we'll just use Bitcoin. It's just easier. Everyone knows it. So the first thing that I do is I'll see what movement's been happening. I'll just get rid of some of this stuff that I've done, and we'll see where are we likely to go. So got fibs running around, and all right. So it looks like we've had a bit of a dump overnight, and trend is down. Haven't really stopped at any key levels. Like did stop at the 50% level, but it looks like it's pushing back through the past 3 hours. So it would be you would start to maybe assume that perhaps we're going to keep going down a bit lower to this golden pocket. So that's on the hour time frame. Now I'll start coming in a little bit, and we'll see what sort of movement we're getting. Right, so we're starting to get some. The buyers are starting, or bulls are starting to step up at this 36k level, 36.1 level. You can see that because the wicks, the closing candles aren't filling the wicks, the previous wicks. This one here is quite a bearish candle, because you don't really see much of a wick to the downside. But yeah, once you start getting into the last 3 candles, we can see that the buyers are starting to set up. Now we'll go down a bit further into the 5 minute. All right, so now we're starting to see a bit of the lower highs and lower lows forming. So we've got your low there, comes up, sets your lower high compared to the previous run, comes down, sets a lower low compared to there. So we could be coming around to now make another lower high before it comes down and potentially starts entering into this level down here. Where are the 1 minute? Yeah. So this, I know it's quite zoomed out, but this little area here where we've got the bounce from the low, starting to look a little bit similar to over here, where you're starting to get a lot more green candles. And where did we reject? So we can actually do a fib on the 1 minute. It's not that the lower the time frame you're on, the less accurate, and the less likely the indicators are going to be reliable. But we can do it still nonetheless. There's nothing stopping it. All right, so looks like it's respecting the 618. So now we can go to here. All right. So now I'm starting to look at where do I want to get an entry, and looking at this, gonna be looking at getting an entry around the 36,380 level, ideally. That would be a good level to get an entry into to ride it down to this 35,875. So that's the idea that we're coming up with. Um, we could even, because we did have this little low. No, it's popping through that. Yeah. Yeah, so I'd look to ladder into a position between 36,380 and 36,445. Um, stop loss, we'll work out a stop loss once we're um, in the exchange. But ideally, you'd be probably putting a stop loss above 36,660. We'll see what that looks like when it comes to doing our risk management. There is something else that I do like to have a look at, and this is just the order flows. So I'll just give this a quick refresh. Put up the CBD and the open interest. So this chart just tells us if there's more aggressive buying or selling with shorts, like whether there's more longs or shorts, and whether there's shorts absorbing the price action, or longs are absorbing price action, or there's you can see bullish and bearish divergences, and it also tells you when the shorts and longs are opening and also closing. So this is just on the 5-minute chart at the moment. As we can see around here, and sorry, it is a bit difficult to sort of see this. I'll
It's all right.
move this up a bit. All right, the CBD is the middle one, the open interest is the bottom. So when you're seeing the CBD go down and in the open interest, it's the open interest is going down, that's typically saying that long positions are closing. When you see, and this isn't very sharp these wicks, but when you see a really sharp big wick in both the CBD and the open interest, that typically suggests that there's been liquidations, and you'll see a big wick in the price as well. When you see big wicks across all three, that typically says that there's been liquidations, as opposed to the longs have been that as opposed to people closing their position to be taking profit. So I would say that this is probably more likely longs have been closing as opposed to a liquidation event. But we can change this to the 1-minute chart. Hopefully we get it to load. No, error loading data. Could be because I'm also on video. It might not want to play ball, but and so this entire run down, the run down has been driven by longs closing their position. It hasn't actually been because there's shorts opening. So that will give you a little bit less faith that we're going to be seeing the new lows. We're going to 33K on this run. It's probably more likely that we're just sort of ranging at the moment. And now we're getting a bit of open interest coming in now, and it's a mixture of longs and shorts. So it just suggests that it's unlikely that we're going to see any massive price movements in either direction. I mean, there already has been fairly significant price movements over the past few hours. So we might just be looking to do a little bit of sideways action down here at these levels. So this is just on the 15-minute chart. Okay, so there was some shorts opening in this period, just where I've got the cursor, and then just prior to that, that's all shorts opening before the big drop down. All right, so we'll just go back to the chart and we'll have a look, rehash our plan. So we want to enter a position around the 36,380 level. Watch it come down. Alternatively, we can look for longs down at the 35,875 level. That would be a good area to get a scalp long in. May not let us on the 1 minute chart, but we can go and have a look. There is also, once we get in, we can have I can talk about something a bit different as well. So 4-hour chart is below the middle Bollinger Band. It's underneath the 21 EMA. That suggests trends are down. 1 hour, trends are down. Daily, it's above, so trends are still up for now. 15-minute, we spoke about this in the other one, but trends are still down. 3 minutes, not looking too badly. 5 minute. Yeah, so this is another little tool that I like to use when doing quick scalping, and even probably more so for if I'm in a position and I'm considering closing the position or considering taking some profit off the table, is a 21 EMA across the different charts. So as we can see here, pretty much once we fell below the middle Bollinger Band on the 5 minute, it was more or less downhill. What we did over here, get up above it, but it was quite short lived, and it was about 20 past 2. So this is on the 15-minute chart, the same period. We didn't get above the 21 EMA on the 15-minute chart, and then it heavily rejected. So I do like to use that to know which way we're sort of going. What? A minute. So if we start seeing this 1 minute candle here that we're currently forming, close, might be coming down to close now. Starts closing below 36,248. That's then putting in, it's extremely local, but it's starting to put in a lower low. So you could start to say, well, maybe it's not going to come all the way up to 36,380. But it's not a certain thing. Like that. Yeah, it has closed down below it. It was a 15-minute close as well. Was a bit bearish. I think we might enter a short if we can get up in the high 36,200s. All right. So now we're in the demo account. That's, I don't know how they come up with that figure. That's just what it is. We're going to pretend that we've got 10 grand in the account. I think it's a better number to sort of work with. It's a round number. For these scalps, I'm going to be risking 1% of the capital. So that means that I can risk no more than $100 in a losing trade. So if we go 36, 280, I'll chuck in. It's a $550 trade, and we can risk 20% of that. So expected loss is that. So it's a pretty tight stop loss. So maybe we will reduce our trade. Maybe we'll go $150 trade or $170 trade. So maybe we can start risking, we can start risking a bit more here because we've lowered the position size, and this is still on 100x. So we can do something like that. Typically, I like to use limit orders where possible because we are on a 1 minute chart. I might use market orders. We'll sort of see how it plays out. We just have to wait for the price to do its thing. So coming back up now. We've got the hourly close coming up as well, so we can have a look and see what's going to happen there. Okay. Yeah, so I had quite a bearish close on the previous hour. I don't expect this to close at. Normally, you would like to see the previous wick filled, and that's where it closes. If it closes past the previous wick, as in if we're in a downtrend and the closing level is lower than what the previous wick is, that's quite bearish. Whereas if the closing candle is within the previous wick, that's a bit of a sign that there could be a reversal coming. So what do we have here? 36,726 closed 36,421. Oh no, what was the low? 36,441 was the low of the wick, and then the closing candle was 36,421. So that engulfed the wick. And we got a little bounce and then continuation to the downside. Do you have any questions so far, Misty?
Nah, nothing so far. I just want to see how this plays out, to be honest.
It's just a waiting game. That's the biggest thing. Like, you don't want to see, like, this is on the 1 minute chart. You see a big candle like that, and then you're like, shit, need to get into a position. And then you start straying away from your idea.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sort of having to stray away from how I would normally scalp, just due to not being able to sort of sit around and wait for a couple hours, 3 hours for the price to sort of come. But I'm going to try anyway.
No, it's no pressure. Don't worry.
No, that's all good. Have you been looking at charts and doing a little bit of practice?
A bit, but I haven't been doing the practicing side yet. I still don't know why. I've been a bit reluctant with that.
Yeah. You don't even necessarily have to jump in a demo account either. Like, you can do a little bit of charting, use a long and short tool, and that's more or less your idea. And you can just see how it plays out.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you always use all these tools for your scalping? All of them?
Not all of them, but definitely at the start when I was looking at the charts and looking over the different time frames. One that I probably would like to use more often than what I do is the order flow chart on Coinalyze. I do I use it, but I could use it more.
Okay.
But yeah, I definitely look over the different time frames to see what's going on. But if I'm looking the scalp on the 15-minute or the 1 hour chart, I don't have to necessarily go through all the charts below that level because I'm going to find the level that I want to enter at on the 1 hour or the 15. So I've only got to, if I'm looking on the 15-minute chart, I'll then look at the 1 hour, the 4 hour, the daily. I probably don't have to look at the daily because looking at charts every day, you sort of know where the price has been and where it's going. But yeah, you don't have to. You can look at less charts, but because we're looking at the 1 minute, you sort of have to give all the other time frames prior to that a bit of respect. So there is something else that we can do, and we can split this entry position into half. So we can enter with half of it now, and let's say I chuck this in at 35. I'm going to go 318 just as a limit order. What have I done here? Oh, 35, shit. 6318. And let's say the price continues to go up from 36,318 back up to the level that I wanted to enter in here. Like, 36,380, 36,445. I can then add to my position at that higher level. And because I'm on, sorry, I'm just getting a bit stuck in my own thoughts here. Yeah, I can add to that position at a high level, and it'll just adjust the order price to the average entry. Have you done that before, Mystic, or do you just pretty much place the one order and run with it?
Yeah, that's pretty much what I do.
Yeah, yeah. So you can. It's almost like DCAing into a short or a long position, really. We might start to see a bit of a run up coming into the hourly close. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of scalping. I mean, I guess thinking out like big ideas on a 4 hour time frame and a 1 hour. It is scalping, but it's not full degen scalping. What we're doing here, trading a 1 minute chart, is like full degen scalping. But all we can do is just wait. We come up with the idea, and the price might come to us. But if it doesn't, then it doesn't. I think it will though. Within the next 10 minutes, it'll come up to that level.
Yeah.
It's just a matter if it starts going higher and how much higher it goes. Yeah. Well, what we've done is by looking at the 15-minute, 5 minute, the 1 hour, all the trends are down. So it's you're increasing your probability of being right. No one knows, but we're increasing the likelihood that we're going to be right here. So the other thing as well that we've got, like looking at the 4 hour, because once this 1 hour closes, we've then got the 4 hour closing at the in an hour from then. So that would be the next one we're going to look at. And so the low here, 36,240. So we should expect the price to close around that 36,240 or lower if we're going to be maintaining the downtrend. If it starts to look like it's flipping trend on the 4 hour chart, it might close at 36,300 or higher. So we'll see what happens. Maybe we'll have a look at some charts while we're waiting on this. Render. I haven't checked in on this to see how it went since yesterday. Yeah, that would have been a good trade to get that one. $3.20. I think that's what I just missed yesterday. Yeah, about 10 to 7 my time. Rejected, came down, came back up, and pushed through right on cue. I don't think I've actually put an explanation in as to why I thought 320 was a key level. I might just cover that off while we're waiting. So 320 for me was a key level because we saw rejections. This is on the weekly. Probably better to see it on the daily, actually. This is a while ago. It's just start of last year, pretty much middle of last year. But when we were breaking down and we were coming back up, we saw a fair bit of rejection in this zone at $3.20. So that's why I was keen to see how we interact with it. I didn't think on the first attempt we were going to get through. And that's literally the idea for $3.20. I did have this little wick here in mind as well, of where I thought that, if we did poke through $3.20, the top of this wick might get swept. Because other people that are looking at this, they're going to be seeing this here. They're going to be entering trades through these wicks. So, from around $3 all the way up to $3.25. And they're going to be putting their stop above this wick here. Because they're studying the past to predict the future, more or less, which is what we're trying to do as well. So my idea was it comes in here, everyone enters in their short positions, price comes down, and then if it was to come back up because there wasn't enough sell pressure and someone else had a bigger picture, then we're likely to come and sweep just this high here, take out all those people that were trading this range, and then it's going to start coming down. And we'll go over to what has happened. Because it was about $3.30, the top of the major wick back in 2022. We came up to $3.20, rejected, came up to $3.35, which is just above. Maybe on a monthly, we might be able to see them both in the same chart. Yeah. So it's just above that wick that we were talking about. And now it seems to be rejecting. It could continue on higher, but it was always going to come into a bit of a rejection at that $3.35 mark as well, similarly to how the $3.20 mark worked. And it's not about getting into a short position to stay with it to the end of time. It's to get a short position because you know that there's going to be resistance and I can make a bit of money off this. So it's going to reject. And then I'm going to start taking some profits, down here at around $3. And that would have given at 320 down to $3 on the 25x leverage was about 100% return on what you on your position size. So same deal here, 335 down to 315 on a 25x leverage. That's about 100% return on your position size as well. And that's all it's about, get in, wait till you start seeing some signs of reversal and get out. Well, we're getting close. I might enter just a market order in a second. Reason being, you normally see on any, well, not really a 1 minute wick, but 15-minute wicks, an hour wicks, 4-hour wicks, 4-hour candles. Sorry, you normally see wicks to both sides of the candle. And this looks like it was just forming the top side of the wick on this. Shit. looks like it's just forming the top side of the wick on this 1 hour candle, and now it's coming down. We'll just see what happens a little bit longer. But I'd still have that limit order in at 36,318. We've taken a position now. It's a bit of a forced position, but we've taken a position now. So now we will just wait. And we will actually need to modify 55, the stop loss. So at the moment, the stop loss is sitting up above these highs. It's sitting up above these highs. And now we're going for a run up, of course. Anyway, 36,407 is where the stop loss is at. But it's below the stop loss is above the 21 EMA on the 5-minute chart. It'd be nice to have it above the 21 EMA on the 15-minute chart, but that's okay that it's not. So now it's just a matter of sitting and waiting.
I don't understand it. It's so stressful and just constantly trying to scalp people who do that every day. I don't understand how they can manage to make profits out of it consistently.
Yeah,
Because it seems pretty unpredictable.
it's it just depends on how you're going about it. Like if you're doing this sort of scalping on a 1-minute chart, like you're not going to be turning. I think it's going to be a struggle to turn a consistent profit. But you can do it. It is possible. I do know some people that have done it, or I've seen some people that have done it. I don't have the time to be doing it personally, like because you need your entire focus on the
Mm.
on the charts the whole time. Whereas, if you're looking at an hour chart or a 4-hour chart, you don't have to have your eyes constantly on the charts. You can check in every 15 minutes or whatever it is. Really, you set some alerts and you can walk away. But yeah, when you're scalping on this low time frame, it does screw you over a little bit. So we're getting a little bit of profit now.
There we go.
Yay! So I want to see 36,120 broken. And then sorry? No. Well, I could set a limit order to take profit. I'll just double check what the level was. I think it was around 35,873. So I'd front run that. Probably go about 35,920.
Oh wow, yeah.
35,920. And I'd typically close in a scalping situation, 75%, leave 25% to run, and then close that if close the remaining 25% if there's a trend reversal, or I'm going to be going to bed, or I'm busy, or whatever it might be. Particularly on a 1-minute chart, as if I have to go do something, I'd be closing it. I wouldn't be letting a position run on a 1-minute scalp without watching the charts. The 1-minute chart, it needs your full focus, really. Because this is scalping, you need to sort of. I didn't enter a position necessarily where I wanted to, and it certainly wasn't at near these highs, like 36,332. I mean, I could adjust it down to above this high at 36,332. But yeah, I wouldn't be putting it in profit. You need to have that bit of leeway, and that's the risk management. It's I'm risking what is about 0.5% of the capital. But yeah, we can put it probably above this 36,332. That's for sure.
And you've got a nice amount of profit so far.
Yeah, it's going all right, and it's good because we've broken below these lows. We've now made a lower low on the 1 minute time frame. So it's sort of suggesting that we could be getting a bit of a flipper trend. This could take the next, 40 minutes to sort of play out as well. Could happen,
Yeah.
but yeah, it could take. Just because we're on the 1 minute chart doesn't mean it's going to all happen in 5 minutes. It still could take 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever it might be, but it could also take 5-10 minutes.
And it's so stressful because you have to have your eyes constantly on it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, if you're looking at this and you're like starting to get a bit antsy about it, even if it's nowhere near where you want to take profits. If you're starting to feel antsy, it's a good time to then say, "All right, I'm going to take 10% off the table here." So I'd even just do it as a market order. Take 10% off the table, and we've just locked it in. Would have been about 25%, 30% profit on that 10%. Because we're feeling antsy, or if you're ever unsure about whether you should be taking profit, it's always safer to just take profit. I think the key is to be putting an amount of money into the trade that doesn't phase you. If you win, lose, or otherwise, if you start getting like the sweats when you're in a bit of negative, you've probably got too much money involved in the trade where it means something to you. Oh, we're starting to come down now.
Yeah, wow.
I don't know if I've got this on hedge. If I can. One way. So I got the position modes on one way, which is a bit annoying. If I had it on hedge mode, I'd be able to have this short going, but also open along at the golden pocket below where I want to take profits. And then that way you've got the best of both worlds. There we go.
Oh wow, yeah.
35.88,
Wow.
and we'll see what 35.886 corresponds to, the 618 level, and that's where it's got its reaction off. So I'm actually going to close the rest of this short because it has gotten a bit of a nice bounce. That's scalping. Now, the reason why I've closed it is because we've come down, we've hit the 618 level. It could go down and continue down, but normally when you see something hit a key level, it'll have a bit of a bounce. It'll start coming up, and then it'll sweep to the golden pocket later, 35,760. You might see something. Actually, I'm on the 1 hour chart. I'll go to a smaller chart, a bit easier to see. And because we've come down, we've touched it. Maybe we'll come up, and then we'll come down and sweep, and then it might take off up, or it might push. It might push through, or it might take off higher, bounce and go up, because that's all it was a liquidity grab down to here, and then it takes off, and then it starts taking out the short liquidity. Let me delete some of these. Yes. So now it's getting a nice bounce. 36, 140. And that's what I was trying to, how I was saying earlier, that I wouldn't mind looking at taking a long at the golden pocket there. That would have been perfect because it did get a nice reaction to come up. We've got to make sure that we close any other orders. But that's pretty much scalping. Any questions?
No, nothing. That was brilliant.
So the reason why I front ran it, I had the take profit or the limit order, at 35,920 and not write down at the level, is because other people have the same idea. They want to front run it. So I just front run the front runners essentially. Well, that's what I try to do. So I'd rather give up a little tiny bit of profit to not guarantee, but give myself a high chance of it hitting, than have it right on the button and miss out. And then you get a bounce up to here, and you start getting itchy feet because you're like, shit, the price is down there, I missed it. I'd rather give up a little bit of profit and just make sure that I'm going to get it. So we can. I probably won't have time to do another scalp, but we can, just for the sake of it, we can see where do we think the price might go to now. Anywhere, there's 36,273, 36,283. They're two different 50% levels, but they have confluence with each other because they sort of come up to the same point. We could see price come back up to there before it comes down to sweep that golden pocket. Something like that. Then it comes down, then it gets a nice reaction, or it just continues down. There could be something like that play out. And that also, the 36,240 level coincides with that 4-hour wick that we were talking about. Yeah. So 36,240. This is starting to get into crystal ball type of stuff. But we could see the price come back up, close the 4-hour, which is in 40 minutes, at 36,240. It opens up the next hour, creates its top wick up to the 36,273 level, and then it continues down to sweep the golden pocket. Well, I might be doing it now. If it comes down now, it's probably going to push through because it hasn't had much breathing space. When you're getting a sweep, you normally see a bit more breathing space happen. But if it's coming straight back down, it'll be interesting to see what happens. The key is that the 618 doesn't get broken here. But I might post that up so we can see how it played out. There's the sellers are stepping up. Was it SPX must be dropping off a little bit? Yeah, it has. Oh, it's gone through. I guess we were using for a take profit. Like it's a local fib, but it wasn't a 1 minute fib. where we had the take profit. The take profit was actually, on a 4-hour time frame. Well, we got pretty lucky to get that. But this is looking quite bearish now for Bitcoin. I wouldn't be surprised if we see 34,800 in the next little while. So it got a little bit of a bounce, didn't it? Are you guys watching the charts, or are you guys just watching on my screen?
I was watching on your screen.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, they're all, quite a few are coming down. I mean, Solana's down 10%, but it's up over a longer period. Link's down quite a bit, actually. Bit of a sell-off coming up.
Hopefully Nia drops, because I want to get a little bag of that.
Yeah, it's coming down. It's sitting at $1.65. Regarding Nia, because I've had to adjust where the fib level is. I'll post it up in the premium Mystic, but I'll probably move my DCA to under $1.40 now, because that's, yeah, if it gets down to under $1.40, that's where I'm going to personally start. Not financial advice. You do what you're comfortable with, but yeah, I'll put an update with what I'm doing.
I'd rather follow that, not gonna lie.
I mean, at the end of the day, like, I really should probably just start now, because I haven't chucked it up yet, but from a price predictions perspective, it could get to like $50 quite easily in the bull run, $50-$60. So, if
Yeah.
it's getting in at $1.40, which is also why I was saying, if it does get over that $1.90, I'm more than okay to buy above $1.90, like around $2 as well, because if it's going to get to $50, well, who cares, really? So I probably really should start DCAing into it now, to be honest. Oh, it's always good to have a little bit and have what you can afford to have. For that changes for everybody. Oh, I think that's probably going to be it for today. I might try do some more of that in the coming weeks. Maybe not next week. I've got a bit on, but yeah, definitely the week after, and the week after that, I might do a bit of a session, something similar. So, all right, guys, enjoy the rest of your evening.